Katarina Lerman must also have had a problem, because she was in 14th, dropped back to 29th, and now she hasn't come through in the top 40. So Katarina Lerman, who picked up her first pro ride this year, and it was formerly a world top 10er, really having some trouble out there today. I saw her out on the course yesterday, and she was enjoying herself greatly, so I'm quite surprised to see her that far back. So she must have had a problem. And Heather Ermiger, who led the race for 2 laps last year, hasn't got inside the top 30 all day and seems to be slipping further and further back as well. So disappointment there for some of the big name riders, but all of the action is up front as we watch. This is now 3rd, 4th and 5th. It looks like our 2 champions, the Olympic and world champion, are trying to get back onto the wheel of Catherine Pendrell. And there is Anna Langvad there, the Danish rider, going through next, and she's ahead of Eva Lechner and Lenny Byberg. So that's interesting that our first Scandinavian in the field will probably be a Danish rider, and I don't think that's happened for a long, long time.
Not in the women's races.
No, it's either been Lenny Byberg or Gunn-Rita Dahle.
That's right. But, Norwegian domination. Yes. It's been we've had some good Danish guys in the past, but.
Jan Erik Ostergaard comes to mind. Is that?
Henrik Jernys is probably the one that's
2-time world champion.
Yeah, Michael Rasmussen.
Yes, a lot.
Lenny Christensen.
Oh goodness me! Yeah, there were a lot. There were a lot. So, but it's Anna Langvad is the Danish rider we're going to be talking about today, because she's just outside the podium. She can see it in front of her. In fact, she can see 3rd place in front of her. And what great incentive that would be for an independent rider like that. I'm sure she's got some support in the feed zone. They'll be letting her know exactly where she is in this race. And for those of you watching in Denmark, I'm sure you'll be on the edge of your seats to see if it's the first Danish World Cup podium for women's cross country that I can recall. And if anyone else can remember one, I don't think there has been one, but if anyone can, let us know through Freecaster, through Facebook or through Freecaster. Let us know. Willoughby coming back into the studio and checking any of your questions shortly. He's been out having a cup of coffee or a whiskey or something. So there we are. There's Gunn-Rita Dahle, the other Norwegian rider that we've been speaking about just now. And Simon, you've got to get out now for the final lap. So thanks very much again for your insight, especially on Annie Last. I think it's a great ride for her today, and someone to look forward to a little bit later in the year.
Okay, thanks, Martin.
Thank you very much, Simon Burney, of course, the technical delegate for the UCI here, and making sure that everything runs smoothly. And this is my first visit to this race, having been stopped by the Volcano last year. And it was Nick Craig and Jenny Copnell who did an admirable job in the booth last year, calling the racing as I had to watch from home. But what a great venue it is. For a greenfield site, brings a lot of difficulties to the organizer. They do make it harder for themselves because they have to build everything from scratch, whether it's VIP tent, power source, whatever, toilets, everything has to be done from scratch. They're not using an existing ski resort or other on-site facility, so it is a difficult venue, but they're doing a marvellous job here at Dalby Forest here in North Yorkshire. It's about an hour and a half from Leeds Airport. If you want to come down here and ride this track, I highly recommend it. A lot of people come here all week. The forest is enormous. There's so much great riding to be had here. And Pickering and the surrounding towns. Now we can see the rain coming in. Now this is one of the things that we're talking about, blustery gales coming in with squally showers. And that will make it a little bit slick on top of the tree roots and the rocks, but nothing too much to worry about. We'll just see how heavy it is. And it might even be raining just on this section of the track and not on another section. It is that localized. And you can see the locals, only 1 or 2 umbrellas up because they're hard out here. They're enjoying the weather and they knew what they were coming for. So that's our first 2 riders. No sign at all because we had a gap of coming up to a minute between 2nd and 3rd. We'll wait and see if Pendrell has regrouped with 4th and 5th, and to see if Langvad has managed to get onto the back of this. So Langvad from Denmark is the rider of the day in my books, Annika Langvad, independent rider. She's, well, Esther Zeus also a bit of an independent rider, a little bit higher on the ranking, but she does get support from the Wheel Bike Company and IXS. But Anna Langvad doing very, very well indeed. You'll see her here switching back. We've got 4 riders, it looks like, in Medusa's drop right now. So 2 races going on here, both with great interest for us. The lead 2 and then the race for 3rd place. Catherine Pendrell again gapping a little bit on Medusa. She's obviously a little bit more efficient coming down through there. She's running the Maxxis icons on the front of her bike, and a tyre that she likes very, very much. Same as Marie-Ellen Premont actually. They find them very fast rolling but with good traction on the sidewalls. There she is, our Danish rider. Annika Langvad finding herself at the very front of the field for the first time at this stage of any race that we've seen. And that looks like Natalie Schneider going through there in the purple colours of the Colnago team, the Aragini Colnago team. Not a bad ride for that team. We've got Eva Lechner sitting in 8th and Schneider in 9th, so that team sitting in 8th and 9th. Byberg for Specialized sitting in 7th, and Wren up there chasing for the lead, so Specialized having a good race as well. And a pity for the Luna team because they had Katarina Nash in the top 10, but I'm just trying to see now on the scoreboard if she's come in or she's a withdrawal. Katarina Nash has actually come through, so we'll see if she's managed to get that repaired. Katarina Nash came through in 46th place, 7 minutes down, so she's definitely had a visit to the technical zone. And Katarina Lerman also coming through in 49th, having lost 20 places. So I think both of those riders have problems. I did think in walking the course that there was many opportunities for punctures. There was a lot of hidden rocks, a lot of sharp, hard rocks. And now you can see it's like a sun shower we've got on screen now. So the rain pouring down, but the sun poking through as well. So as they did say on the weather report, it would be very localized if it happened at all, and would be very, very brief. Rita Dalla Fletcher going through there, the mother, and that was a rider coming down through the softer option. Well, it looks like one of the under 23 girls actually being caught there, so not a rider in this field, and one of the under 23 riders being caught. Remember, they started just after the elite women's field, and she quite rightly is trying to stay out of the way of the leaders and not have an impact on their race. And this looks like Tracy Mosley coming through now. This is the downhill world champion from Great Britain. Rider number 87 for Trek World Racing going through. Of course, her teammate Willow Kerber not racing here, having discovered the day before the World Cup in Pietermaritzburg that she was pregnant, and she will not be racing for the remainder of the season. But Tracy Mosley deciding to have a bit of fun out there and show that she can ride cross country. She did race the Cape Epic and finished that entire distance, and what a tough race that one is down there in South Africa. And she raced the Pro Eliminator the other day, finishing 7th, and here she is. We'll see where she came through last time. Tracy Mosley looking for a top 60 here today, and she came through at the end of that lap in 67th, having moved up. Well, she's been sitting in the 66th, 67th, and if she stays in that position, she'll pick up 3 points, and she's actually looking for 4 or more, so she'll be chasing down a few more points a little bit later on in this race. So I just got some information in from some of our fans out there. Aidan Grogan, thanks very much for letting us know that Annika Langvad does ride for the Eastern Rockets Fuji team, as Simon Burney mentioned, and she just won the Bundesliga's race in Saalhausen in Germany. So she was beat Maja Wojcicka in doing so. So that's not a bad ride indeed. Shows she got some form, and Annika Langvad now sitting in the top 6. Having beaten Maja Wojcicka, who's the rider she's actually chasing down right now, having beaten her in the Bundesliga in Saalhausen just last weekend. So the Bundesliga, always a good indicator of what's going on in the scene. A lot of the riders use those, as well as the Racer Bike Cup in Switzerland. And let me see, both riders, this is the first time I've seen Rengcheng 1 go the A-line on that particular section of the track. So something changing her mind there, might have been the rain, or, well, so you can see there now it's absolutely sunny and as if there's no rain at all. So these showers are very localized. They'll be coming around now. This is 1.5 kilometers to go, and then they'll be coming through here to get the bell lap. So they'll be coming up to the last lap. A fascinating dice between our 2 top protagonists from South Africa, leading the World Cup. Remember, it's 250 points for a win and 200 for second. And in fact, if Julie Bressett was to win this, they would be equal first on points, both of them with 450 points. And the leader jersey would go to Bressett because she would have been the most recent winner. So fascinating to see what will happen between these 2 riders. For Wren, if she can get out and win this one, she'll build a nice buffer over her main competitor of about 100 points. Again, these are under 23 riders that we can see in shot here that don't get pulled. All of the riders now taking line A. Now I would have thought the Sabine Spitz might have found it a little bit quicker to go around the outside there, because you've got traffic of 3, but Langvad now has moved up into 4th place, so she's passed Wojcicka, she's passed Sabine Spitz, and now she's looking at the first ever podium for a Danish female cross-country rider. What a fascinating result that would be for Denmark heading into the Olympic program for next year. So she's going to really bolster her world ranking points and her nation ranking points. So Annika Langvad looking at a first-time career podium, and that will be turning the heads of a few team managers out there, I can assure you, as we'd like to see some new talent coming up towards the front of the field. Annie Last, another one to mention, but right now we see Catherine Pendrell having to pass one of the slower under-23 riders from another race. So Pendrell getting up over the very last part of this climb. This is the end of the climbing on lap number 4 to come round and get the bell lap. And there's Annika, plate number 13, not unlucky for her today, Sabine Spitz, and then Wojciechowska. So that's a great group of 4 to fight out the minor placings of the podium. 2 of these will get on the podium, 3 of them will get on the podium, and 1 of them will not. So that's what's got to be decided in that group of 4. And behind them, the next group we should see would be the Byberg, Lechner and Schneider group. So it gets a little bit confusing on these last laps as we get a lot of the slower riders from the under-23 women's race, which they do start just behind the women's elite race. Not a super fan of that concept. I think running the race separately, like they do with the men's under-23, is a better idea, or group them in. I don't think the numbers are big enough really yet to justify 2 fields, but it does make things a little bit complicated for the marshals and for the cameramen and for us as well, because there are a lot of riders now mixing it up with the leaders on the last lap. And the last thing you want to see is one of those riders actually having an accident and causing someone in the elite field to have a problem when they actually have nothing to do with their race. So Lenny Byberg going through there now, and we have, how many riders we have left in this race? Well, we've got Tracy Mosley now, another spot of her, now the shot of her going through this technical section. She's coming up towards Warrie Gill, and if she gets round without being pulled 80%, she will have to do the full race distance. She was saying to me she'll probably try and do 3.5 at maximum speed. So if she's going to be held out there for the full 5 laps, she's going to be a tired lady on the last lap. So far though, most of the riders seem to be coming through. They have 76 riders through that haven't been pulled. Annika Beerten has been pulled out in position 81. So Annika Beerten is out of the race. And she will get a result though. She's just been pulled under the 80% rule, and that's the rule where you are, they calculate the time of the first full lap completed by the leader, and 80% of that is the time that you must be within the leader each lap round. So for argument's sake, if it's a 20-minute lap, if you're more than 16 minutes behind the leader, you will be pulled out of the race because you're in danger of being overlapped and interfering with the race. So that's what happens. The 80% rule cuts riders out before they get involved in lap traffic, and it makes it a lot safer for the leaders, and this is why I'm a little concerned about these under-23 riders who are getting lapped from a separate race, especially on narrow tracks like this. But we'll see if it does play any role. Right now we do see some of them in shot, but we're waiting for our leaders to come through and complete lap 1. Sorry, complete the race with 1 lap to go after completing 4 laps. Here's our group for 3rd. This is Catherine Pendrell, quite happy to sit in front now, but I wouldn't be surprised if she concedes that she can't get the front 2. She might try and sit in behind some of these other riders on the last lap and rest her legs a little bit, because if it comes down to a sprint, well, it's going to be interesting to see. Ren is out of the seat now. Ren Cheng-Wan out of the seat and trying to put a bit of a gap in. She knows it's the last lap. She heard the bell go off, and she's put a little bit of a gap now into Bressett. So let's see if this is really a serious attack by Ren, or just a little bit of a confidence boost to get her onto the start of lap number 5. Wojciechowska's been sitting in on back there, 4th wheel, for quite some time in that group. Either she's just hanging on now. Is Eva Lechner going to try and get up to this group? She knows this is a podium up ahead of her. Eva Lechner didn't have a great result in South Africa, so she might be trying to get up there as well. If she can expend the energy and not waste too much and get up there with that group, she can have a fascinating ride now to see if she can get up onto a podium, something she desperately needs for her overall ranking. Ren Cheng-Wan, there's her feeder right at the front of the feed zone. There's the feeder, large man there from the BH Sun Tour team, as Bressett now goes back into the lead. So these two swapping back and forth, a bit of a cat and mouse game. Bressett speaking French, and Ren Cheng-Wan speaking Chinese, and she's going for an attack on the outside. Well, that was an interesting attack there. Sprinting after the feed zone and attacks around the outside and then pulls up. Well, fascinating bit of riding there. Now you can see this is where Catherine Pendrell's now letting Langvad go to the front. She doesn't like on this headwind here to lead through, so she's let someone go through. And I think this is a wise decision by Pendrell. If she wants to finish third out of this group here, or at the front of this group here, she's going to need to play some tactics, because I think that you should find that Sabine Spitz is the strongest sprinter, and Langvaart will be